Welcome, everyone. This is Tetra Tech's live event webinar titled The Use of AI-powered Chatbot Auxilium to Assist in the COVID-19 Response. We'll begin the broadcast shortly at 1:30 Eastern. If you have any questions, comments, or technical issues, please use the Q&A window to privately submit them. If you want to try out the Q&A window, feel free to test it out now. Let us know if your audio is working fine, how things are where you are located, and any webinar technical questions. If you're having any trouble with the audio, please check the volume on your device. Sometimes you just need to boost the volume on your laptop or PC. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Good afternoon and welcome to everyone in attendance. My name is Jeremy Kaufman and I'll be moderating this installment of Tetra Tech's COVID-19 live event webinar series. Today's topic is the use of the AI-powered chat box Auxilium to assist the COVID-19 response. As we get started, you can send troubleshooting questions using the Q&A tab in the upper right-hand portion of the screen. Hopefully we can address most technical questions early on through that tab. We will also collect questions you asked today about the content. You can populate the Q&A tab throughout the presentation. We anticipate a lot of questions on the topic, so please remember to include your name and email so that we can get back to you directly after the presentation. I'm pleased to introduce our speakers today, Jesus Jackson and Wei Jen. Jesus is our Senior Director at EGT Labs at eGlobalTech within the Tetra Tech suite of companies. Jesus specializes in big data, distributed systems, microservice, data science, full stack development and integration, and deploying scalable products with millions of users. Jesus holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer and Science and Mathematics from the University of Maryland. Wei Jen is the practice lead of applied machine learning at Tetra Tech. Wei helps organize and solve tough problems using machine learning and data analytics. Wei holds a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from the Cooper Union. Jesus, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate the intro. Hey, everyone. This is Jesus Jackson. So let's give you some background on the chatbot and why we developed it. So when COVID-19 hit and we saw the immense impact on businesses, especially with small businesses, we saw this as a good opportunity to give back to our communities through our technology offerings. Once the CARES Act passed, we knew there would be a lot of questions from small businesses on different relief options. And if you don't know much about the CARES Act, it was an act that was passed on March 17th. And it allowed relief options for American workers and small businesses. So the Small Business Administration website had some resources, but there wasn't really like a search platform or a way to directly get answers to questions. And as you can imagine, there are many different types of questions one could ask. For example, one could have questions on Paycheck Protection Programs, debt relief, and so forth. So we thought this was a good use case for our AI-powered chatbot, Auxilium. Auxilium is a smart chatbot designed to answer user questions in a conversational and concise manner. In comparison with other chatbots in the market, it uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to understand the user's intent, and it performs contextual analysis to have smart conversations with the user. Today, we're going to show you, excuse me. Today, we're going to show you a live demonstration of the chatbot that we built to help small businesses find answers to their questions. So now I'm going to pass it to Wei to do a live demonstration.
Thanks, Jesus. Hi, everyone. My name is Wei, and I'm going to show you a live version of how the chatbot works we call it a COVID bot. So when the users come to this website, they can click the pop-up window that they can ask questions. So the first question most people would ask is, what options are available? And you can see that the bot immediately comes back with an answer. I didn't need to go through the various web pages and click on various links to try to find the answers that I need. And then I'm going to try another question. Am I eligible? You can see again the chatbot immediately could answer how the Paycheck Protection Programs or the economic injury disaster loans, the eligibility details. I'm going to try, what is the interest rate? And the answer is for the for-profit businesses is 3.75%, and for nonprofit businesses it will be 2.75%. Again, users didn't need to read 10 pages of PDF to get that information. How soon can I get a loan? Yep. You can see again how the bot immediately tells the users that they can get the $10,000 immediately and as soon as within 3 days. And for the longer one, typically it will be 2 to 3 weeks to process the bigger PPP loans. And then kind of like the natural flow, people would ask, where can I apply? And the answer would be for the EIDL, you apply directly with SBA, and for the PPP, you would apply it with the lenders. So then naturally, the next question is there a lender near me? Is there a lender near? Oh, it asks for what is my zip code? Let's try 100. So now I'm given a link to find a nearby lender. And you see how that only took me 4 seconds. Immediately, I'm presented with a map that shows the various banks that are near me. So yeah, that's a live demonstration of the chatbot. Jesus, back to you, and I'm going to show the managed dashboard.
Yeah, thanks, Wei. I think an important point that you mentioned was, when we were looking at the resources on SBA's website, we did find some really good, rich resources. But if all the information is spread across 10 pages of PDFs, that's a significant amount of effort that a small business has to go through. And sometimes they just may have very targeted questions that they need answers to quickly. And so one common question we get asked is, well, how do you train the chatbot? So if you're familiar with data science and artificial intelligence, there's this concept of training an AI model, training it to learn and be predictive. And so what we did was we took those PDFs and we took other information on the SBA website, we scraped it all, and we got it in a way to where we could train the chatbot. And within a short period of about 2 weeks, we trained the bot and got it to be able to understand different topics when it comes to relief options and payments, and be able to answer up to hundreds of questions. So just in a 2-week time window, we were able to use the power of AI to build this bot, including the UI as well. And now what we're going to do is transition to the dashboard. So Auxilium is a chatbot. As you saw, there was a chat window on the front of our webpage, but we also wanted to take a step further and show analytics on how well the chatbot's performing. And this comes standard with Auxilium. So when someone implements Auxilium, they get a dashboard out of the box to show them the different types of questions they're getting and analytics. And more importantly, the usage analytics, meaning how are users actually interacting with your bot? So we're going to go over some analytics. The first is the total number of questions. So because this is a demo, we only have 26 questions, but we worked with clients that have weekly, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of questions that they could get from their customers and their users. So you can quickly see the total number of questions up at the top left. We also have really nice analytic around time saved. So when we did our research with developing the bot, on average, we realized it took about 5 minutes for help desk teams or support teams to respond to user emails. So it may not seem like a lot of time, it being 5 minutes, but when you think about that over the span of a day, it becomes additive. That time adds up, and that's a productivity loss. And so we wanted to show right in dead center of the dashboard how much time the team is actually saving by using Auxilium. The third analytic is response rate. So this shows how well the bot's performing. And what that means is if the bot doesn't understand how to answer a question, it will flag it in its internal engine, and it'll do that in real time. And every time it answers a question correctly via understanding the question and knowing how to get to the right response, and also measuring the user's response, it will flag that as well. And what I mean by measuring the user response, if the user actually responds back with, hey, sorry, that wasn't helpful, or asks the same question again, then that's a sign that we didn't provide the best user experience and the chatbot did not answer the question adequately. Why would someone repeat a question, for example, if the question was answered adequately? So we maintain all of that in the back end and show you in real time how well the bot is performing. Down at the bottom, we have the amount of user messages that are coming in or questions. You can drill that down to past 15 days, past week, or within the past 24 hours. You can also see the top 5 user questions. And this is customizable. So if some clients that we work with, for example, want top 20 user questions or top 50 user questions, we can tailor this dashboard to meet those needs. And so you can see in the context of our COVID-19 chatbot, you can see, some of the questions there, like, do I need a personal guarantee? You can see the frequency with how many times that question is asked. How long does it take to get approved for an economic injury loan? Again, given that this is for demo purposes, we only have a count of 1, but you can imagine how many different types of data sets you would come in if this was live in production and you had small businesses, using this on a daily basis. When we deployed the bot, we did have a lot of activity back in March. But now that a lot of the funding has gone out to businesses all across the country, this is now back in a demo state. So I want to quickly jump over to user messages up at the top. And what user messages shows is the list of questions that were detected by the bot and the list of questions that were missed by the bot. Because we're in a demo state, we don't have any questions listed here. But if we were in production, we would have an entire list of questions that were detected, meaning the questions that the bot knew how to answer, and the questions that were missed, meaning the bot didn't know how to answer. And so if you think about that, that's great from a client perspective, because I can see in real time, which questions that the bot's missing, and I can then determine why it's missing, as in some questions that the bot knew how to answer adequately. And when you're retraining your model and you're doing artificial intelligence, that's really, really important. So now let's go ahead and pass it over to my screen. I'm going to leave you guys with a slide that shows a little bit more about Auxilium and some of its features and how one could use it today. So give me one moment. All right. So we went over some of the features with Auxilium, and Auxilium actually means Latin, in Latin means to help, right? So it's a real-time interactive AI chatbot. When you compare Auxilium to other chatbots in the market, and we did a lot of research on this last year when we started to work on the product, chatbots typically fall in a few different categories. The first is they can be binary, meaning they really only give yes or no responses, and they're not very smart. The second camp is they're quite good, but they're black boxed, meaning you can't really see the insides of the chatbot. You don't really know how it's working. You're just kind of trusting the chatbot and trusting the company that made it. That's also not really acceptable, because how do you really know it's working and at the scale that you need it to? And then you have the third category of, well, chatbots can be good, and the company gives you a lot of insight into the chatbot, especially around the data management. But it requires a monthly subscription fee or a licensing fee. And once you stop paying that fee, all of your data is gone. So the data is gone, the chatbot's gone, you lose everything. So we developed Auxilium to be open source, meaning you can see the internals of the code. We developed it with no licensing in mind or any subscription fees. So it's completely free to use. We typically make our return on investment through services and helping our clients set up the chatbot, actually train the models, curate all the data that's needed to do the model training, and then to build and deploy the chatbot. And these are not very long efforts. We worked with clients, to do chatbots within 3 months, within 6 months. A lot of it depends on the requirements and how many topics we want to support. But that's why we developed Auxilium, to make it super simple to get up and running, have the client actually own all of their data and own the chatbot. So when the contract ends, there's complete ownership of the client and Auxilium. Some other features that we didn't cover in the demo, but that come with Auxilium, one is voice recognition. So Auxilium is 508 compliant. And what that means is regardless of disability, it's completely accessible for all users. So if you want to talk to Auxilium, you can do so. You can also obviously type into Auxilium like Wade did during the demo, and Auxilium is going to respond very quickly. Because we're using machine learning, it understands user intent. So it understands, for example, if you ask it, let's say you have a chatbot for a business, and you ask the business, what's your address? And then you ask, what's your location? Grammatically and syntactically, those questions are different, but they mean the same thing, right? And so meaning and context is really critical. You don't want your users asking the same question in different ways and getting different answers. That's a poor user experience. And because we use AI machine learning, we solve that by understanding the user's intent right up front. Because we're using the cloud and everything is on the cloud, all the responses come back in milliseconds. So it's very, very quick. And as you saw when Wei gave a walkthrough of our SBA COVID bot. The chatbot provides real and smart conversations to ensure customers can try out different options when troubleshooting. As an example, we're working with a client right now where one of their most commonly asked questions can be an answer in 5 different ways, meaning there's 5 different solutions to that problem that a user could ask. The chatbot's going to hold the hand of the user and walk with them and say, okay, there's 5 different options. Have you tried this? Yes, you tried that. It didn't work. Okay, have you tried that? Right. And so that's really important because we want to make sure that, especially when we think in the context of small businesses, we don't want to leave small businesses hanging, right? It's really not acceptable to not give them all the options and then actually walk them through all the different options and not walk them through all the different options. It's important to exercise all options. And a lot of questions can have different part answers, right? And most questions, especially most questions in life, are not going to be yes or no answers. A lot of it is, well, it depends, right? The answers can sometimes be like that. And so it's important to mirror real and smart conversations as if you're talking to a human when interacting with the bot. If there are cases where the bot's not able to answer the question, maybe someone asks a very esoteric question, or it's truly a really difficult question, sometimes you have to talk to a human, right? Your internet goes out, you call your internet service provider, a bot's not really going to help you. You got to talk to a human to really do no kidding troubleshooting. Well, Auxilium handles automatic forwarding to specific websites for more information. So for example, some customers say, we have a PDF or a document that is gospel, meaning all the information that our users need is in this PDF for these particular types of questions. Well, we can just actually send them the PDF through the chatbot. We can send them a link, we can show them a video or an image, whatever that the customer wants, right? So if we need to get our hands to an access on critical information, we're able to do that. And the same way, if we have to forward to a human, forward the user to a human immediately, we can do that through Slack. Some customers use Slack, which is a real-time chat software. And most of our customers have support teams ready to help their customers. And so we can forward someone from Auxilium to a Slack channel to get immediate access to a human should they need it. Most of our customers use tools like ServiceNow, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics is another good example, and the Google suite of tools as well. And we can also integrate with those tools out of the box through APIs. Should someone say, hey, we have a requirement that if someone's not able to get help through Auxilium because they really have to talk to a person, then have Auxilium create a ticket on the user's behalf and connect that ticket request through ServiceNow, and on the back end, we'll create a ticket, assign it to an author, and follow up with the user. That's pretty powerful because we're not leaving the user behind. We're working with them and we're making sure that, hey, user Alice, for example, Alice, sorry, the chatbot can't help you. We created a ticket on your behalf. Here's the ticket number. and here's the author of the ticket and their contact information. Please give us some time to troubleshoot and we'll get back with you quickly, or you can reach out to us should you have any additional questions. That's a great user experience, and that's exactly the kind of experience we provide with Auxilium out of the box. And finally, you saw our extensive analytics dashboard, and that displays all the different types of analytics about how the chatbot's performing, the usage, the response rate, and the time saved. And the dashboard includes a data management portal as well. We're limited in time for this demo, and the dashboard data management portal could take about 20 minutes on its own. But we have a data management portal to allow our customers to manage their own data. So they don't have to rely on us constantly to introduce new topics, update the chatbot. You know, what if the requirements change and we have to update the chatbot completely to be able to pivot and answer new questions or get rid of old questions? The customers can do that easily through the data management portal. So that's it for our demo. I'm going to go to the next slide, which is Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me or Wei. Here's our contact information. Here's our telephone numbers. Please reach out. We're happy to do demos, to dive deeper into the COVID-19 response chatbot, talk about Auxilium in general. So please reach out if you have any other questions. And I'm going to hand it back to Jeremy.
Thanks, Jesus and Wei, for your insights today. As we can see, Auxilium has, I think, a lot of benefits for a lot of our clients for this COVID-19 response. Public health, I could see being used for contact tracing and testing questions. Emergency management, I could see it picking up business continuity and sheltering and other mass care services. Obviously, there's industry-specific conversations, and then the economic development as described today. So please do send your questions on that. For attendees, this presentation and previous COVID-19 webinars can be found at Tetra Tech's COVID-19 webpage. And I want to do a quick advertisement for our next webinar on Wednesday, June 29th, beginning at 1:30 Eastern. The topic will be the impacts of COVID-19 on recovery plan. As a registered attendee for today's webinar, you'll automatically receive an invitation for future webinars. Feel free to pass that also on to your colleagues. And thanks again for attending today's event. Take care, everybody.